Hey guys, Blake Gillen with Longview Martial Arts Academy here with Angel Mancata. Today's our April 14th Tuesday workout for our Krav Maga class. And I know, Mr. Mancata, last class you were taking it through and introducing some the edge work. Angles. Yeah, so if you kind of review from the last class, what we were talking about is when we talk about our edge weapon work, and there's a lot of different schools out there for edge and weapons training. With the knife work, a lot of the work that we use, it kind of bases off the more the Philippine style of training, the way they'll work some of their strikes and everything. But what we go through, what we kind of started on, just kind of a quick recap, is we went through what we call our angle strikes, because when we're dealing with an edge weapon, when there's going to be strikes coming in from different angles, of course my number one rule when we talk about edge weapons, if there's a knife in play, get out of there, book it out and run. If there's a knife drawn on there, everybody's going to be getting cut. The question is, who's going to be getting cut the worst? And this is where, again, when you start talking about doing that, man, you're getting into some hairy ground, and when you talk about working your knife work. But when we talk about the defense, to make it kind of simplified and easy, this is where they kind of break down what they call their angle strikes, okay? Mr. Mancata went through when we were slicing our angle 1, our angle 2, angle 3, and angle 4 coming up from right there. And these are kind of some of the basic strikes we use to feed into some of our self-defense striking, okay? So we're not going to hit too much on there, but just kind of a quick review. Remember, anything coming from an angle 1, we reference that not just for the strike, but then when we start doing our defense, we have what we call our angle 1 defenses. Angle 1 defenses are always going to be going to this side. So if Mr. Mancata were striking at me, let's say coming across here, he'd be coming from an angle 2. It doesn't matter if he's coming from this or this or this. As long as he's along that square, along that corner right there, my defenses are pretty much standard the same on there, the way that I'm going to be dealing with it, okay? And then same thing if you came from a cross angle or what have you. So this is kind of where we break down these drills. Now what we're going to do today is we're going to be getting on a little coordination striking drill to kind of help you guys out with working on some of your striking with our edge weapon to build up some speed. Because when we talk about edge weapon work, especially with knife, it doesn't have to always be a hard hit. Speed is going to be one of your best weapons you've got when we talk about the knife edge work. So what we're going to be working with is kind of working our angle 1, angle 2. Now when we talk about doing our checks and strikes, and Mr. Mancata is coming in with that angle, right? We talk about there's a couple rules that we do. Sometimes we'll do what we call meet, where we cut and meet, following right from right here. There's also what we call a pass, where I'll end up passing the hand and my striking hand's coming around the backside and cutting on the way out, okay? These are our angle 1s and angle 2 strikes that we were working on in the beginning, okay? So what we're gonna do is a little coordination building drill to kind of work and set up that strike. If you've got a bag or a target to work, okay, you can actually use that. If not, you can just do it in the air. But what we practice using is our coordination with our hands. What I don't want to do is kind of like learning how to box and strike. Some students, when they do their striking and punching, they'll punch and they bring their hand down because they're doing it because they're subconsciously getting it out of the way of the other hand. We don't want that. We want to be able to strike and work our coordination so our hands can crisscross and move those angles and keep that guard up in a good position. And the knife's no different. We talk about an edge weapon. I don't want to get crisscrossed up and I end up cutting along my own arm as I'm moving and working around on here. So this is just a coordination drill that you can work from right here. I'm going to set up on the bag spot right here, and I'm going to take my striking hand, my knife hand. I could have it out front, behind, doesn't matter. But I'm going to take my opposite hand. I'm going to press on whatever target I'm working on right here. Now I'm going to take that edge weapon. I'm going to pull my hand back. As I'm pulling it back, I'm pulling it, covering to that chest or that neck, covering those arms, and I'm going to give an angle 1 strike. From here, I'm going to reach out and press on, touch the target again. And notice where my strike comes. As I pull that knife through, now it's actually set up behind. I'm going to press. Now I'm going to follow up by pulling and striking with my angle 2. I'm coming up to my high position. I'm pressing. Angle 1, press. Angle 2, press. So think, I'm going to strike, press, strike, press. What I'm going to be working to this is start working that coordination with my hand. So now as I strike, I start my hand. It's 1 coming into press, and 2. Ultimately what I'm working is always keeping that hand in a position where I'm not coming around and striking and cutting along that line. And where this is going to feed in later on is, like I said, when we talk about our strikes right here, if I do my meet while I'm cutting in and striking here and I follow up my stabs, okay? Or I may end up passing and cutting through and following up with my stab after. So that motion is here the same thing. I'm pressing and cutting, then I'm pressing right here and cutting. So a good drill I want you guys to work on for the Krav is going to be alternating. Start kind of slow. And again, if you've got a workout partner, have them stand right here in front of you. They can be here as just target. Press, cut, press, cut, press, cut, press, cut, press, cut. And I'm always returning that hand back to a good safe position. and this will feed into our striking a little bit later. Have some fun with it, and once you start getting good with it, see if you can add some speed to it on there, okay? Now, a bad habit to watch for, and it's not necessarily a bad habit. Seriously, I say this, there's really no laws when we talk about self-defense. Here's the deal, if it works, right? I mean, bottom line. So when we talk about doing the press, what some people do is they'll press and they'll come underneath here. The problem with this is now I'm kind of creating that line where I may end up cutting along that arm, but it doesn't mean I can't do it. I may end up doing that from right here. If somebody gives me an angle 1, I can end up pushing, boom, pushing back. I may end up having that knife in this position. He comes back and I follow up the strike. I may still throw those strikes from that position. Not that I can't. Just the best way to practice is as I'm cutting, I'm coming behind the arm, because now I know I'm cleared out of that arm from right here. I can even do my cut right here and then follow up with another strike right underneath, and then setting in right there for the strike. So, oh yeah, so you can get our slice. I don't play around with you. So guys, when we go through our strikes on here, basic drill you're working, kind of simplify, start with your target. And Mr. Rock, I'll let you go ahead and demonstrate right here. So you would put doesn't matter which hand's in front either. He's going to start by pressing on the bag, and then he's going to cut that angle 1. He's going to press, coming behind, angle 2, press, angle 1, press, angle 2, press, angle 1, press, angle 2. And this is where we're just working coordination. That's all we're working. It almost needs to be robotic when I'm working through that drill. As I'm cutting and moving, that hand just knows it needs to come back. Kind of like when we talk about our firearm training and things like that. I need to always have my references when we do our draws, because I need to know that reference where I'm going. Worst thing that can happen, I draw if I go for self-defense with my concealed carry or something along those lines. I draw, and sometimes people will end up bringing the hand in front of the gun, and they'll end up sweeping their own hand. Bad things happen, brother. Exactly. So there's references we use to always know where my hand positions are at to keep them clear of the danger. So that's kind of what this drill is building on. So have some fun with it. Put some speed on there. Get you some good edge weapon work on there. And then next class, on Thursday, we're going to be following in some of our new strikes. That's why we have this cross here, because now we're going to be adding the side strikes and the up and down. And the cool thing is, all these angles, I'll kind of come back to this to finish up with. The neat thing about these angles, doesn't matter whether it's a slash, a stab, whatever. When we talk about the edge weapon work, we're only working on angles. So that angle 1 could be an angle 1 slice. It could be an angle 1 stab. So when we do our cuts, this is where we follow through. I go from my angle 1 to slice to cut. Now I can follow up with like an angle 4 coming up and stabbing underneath. Or I can come across and follow up that angle 2 cut, following across the tricep, whatever I'm going to go through on there. I got your little jab on there. So we go through. This is going to be something we're going to kind of work on and build on and have some fun with, something a little different for our Krav guys. And again, great thing is you can work this at home. So definitely get on that coordination drill, start tying them in, post those videos, show us you finish your workout. We will see you guys on the next class coming up on Thursday. Thank you so much.